So Dr. Anthony Fauci is trying to backtrack from all of the times he said COVID didn't come from a lab. And he's twisting himself into a pretzel.
A lab leak could be that someone was out in the wild, maybe looking for different types of viruses in bats, got infected, went into a lab, and was being studied in the lab, and then it came out of the lab. But if that's the definition of a lab leak, Jim, then that still is a natural occurrence.
Meanwhile, the clock is ticking on President Biden to sign off on the bill Congress unanimously passed, forcing the declassification of COVID origins intelligence. And Republicans say there's a reason Fauci won't say COVID came from a lab.
We voted to say, show the American people they're not getting the straight answer from Dr. Fauci or from this administration. I understand that Dr. Fauci has a reason to say that there was not a lab leak because he was actively working to fund the lab in Wuhan. I think the evidence really shows it, that there's funds over which he has control that ended up at the Wuhan lab. And the next time Dr. Fauci's on, you can say, hey, but the intelligence actually says X. You can challenge him.
Kennedy, listening to Dr. Fauci in that first soundbite there, it felt like one of those word problems from the SAT. Like, oh, wait, right. when are you infected and when are you in the lab?
No, he's like, so if you've got people in Wuhan who are cutting the virus up and gluing it back together so it's more transmissible in humans, that's still a natural origin. That is not a lab leak. Just because someone gets infected because of the horrible safety protocols and they infect the entire world, that is natural origin right there. That's not gain of function. Gain of function is a made-up term by leprechauns who hate St. Patrick's Day.
I just love the way you tied the bow on that with St. Patrick's Day.
That's absolutely right. It's coming up.
Raymond, it seems like he's probably getting backed in the corner a little bit here. He's trying to find more doors he can open to find his way back out. This is him reacting to the idea that somebody might be coming after him on this.
Prosecute me for what? What are they talking about? I mean, I wish I could figure out what the heck they were talking about. I think they're just going off the deep end.
What deep end are they going off of?
The deep end is Anthony Fauci apparently had one too many booster. We need to check his oxygen levels at this point. I don't know what he's talking about. And what does he mean you can't prosecute me? Yes, we can. I mean, look, this is a guy who didn't only lock down a populace, he locked down truth and truth tellers. Remember the Great Barrington Declaration? This was a group of esteemed epidemiologists, Dr. Jay Bhattacharya, Harvard, Oxford, these are major figures who deal with virology every day. They said at the beginning, herd immunity needs to be considered. These lockdowns are too onerous. What did Fauci do? Sideline them, dismiss them. The same thing he did with this lab leak theory. He created and commissioned a paper that he then waved around and said, it's been debunked. It's all debunked. Don't listen to him. This is not the way science is done. It's not the way a government should conduct itself. And now is time for Joe Biden, whether he likes it or not, to release all the intelligence related to COVID's origin. With the majority of both houses now, his veto is going to be overridden, even if he attempts to apply it.
Jillian, you're down in D.C. You understand probably the politics of this more than most of us in the sense of I don't think veto is an option. I really don't. But this is Biden talking about just that. Will he sign the bill?
Will you sign the bill to declassify the COVID intelligence?
Hey, Mr. President.
And that's as much as he had to say on it.
I will say this about this whole thing. A lot of rage on the part of Republicans directed at Fauci, on some non-Republicans as well. I do think the Republican investigators are getting a bit ahead over their skis on this when it comes to COVID origins. They got to lock that down first. You don't want to start conflating the forest for the trees here. Investigating Fauci at some point in the future, if that's what you want to do and that's what your constituents want you to do, that's fine. But I think they need to focus on getting to the bottom of COVID origins first, which is how COVID...
Isn't that exactly what I'm trying to do?
But they're not mutually exclusive.
Well, but conflating them is a slippery slope to nowheresville as well. What you got to find out with the COVID origins investigation is how it emerged inside China and then where it spread during the very early days before this was even a pandemic.
They destroyed
They're looking
all the
at the
samples,
Chinese
though.
government.
The Chinese government destroyed all of those samples.
You got to get an answer.
You can't even have access to the bat cave where that species of bat originated.
But so what's this? So then, because you can't get information, then crucify Fauci.
Well,
That
let's
doesn't
hear
make
it from
sense
Fauci
either.
himself.
Fauci
Real
was-
quick.
okay.
Let's hear it from Fauci himself and compare that to what he's saying now.
Very, very strongly leaning towards this could not have been artificially or deliberately manipulated. Now, we think it's more likely that it was a natural evolution. This is very, very likely a jumping species from an animal host, perhaps through an intermediate host, into a human species, which then spread throughout the human population.
So real quick, Kennedy, what I hear is Republicans not saying that they know where the virus came from and Fauci's wrong for lying. What they're saying is he directed the narrative in one direction, allowing media and the government to call everyone else a conspiracy theorist for even bringing it up.
Because he knew where it came from. He knew where it came from. He knew there was some culpability within his institution and the way they laundered money to funnel it to the Wuhan lab. And that is incredibly problematic. What's also problematic is the opacity of our government and our president right now. When you've got a vote that's 419-0, this is not a Republican issue. This is not Republicans pushing back on a political narrative. This is Republicans and Democrats with dead constituents who want access to the intel. They want to declassify the information. So whatever we have, we can glean something from it, because right now there is so much obfuscation on the part of Fauci, the Communist Chinese Party, and this administration.
Okay, but I just want to be very clear about what I said. I said that there's a lot of animosity towards Fauci among GOP lawmakers right now. That is 100% true. I did not say that looking into COVID origins is some kind of a political hit job. I did not say that or imply that.
This impacted our everyday lives. It shut down businesses. It impaired our children. Mental health has been stressed, all due to the origins of this and the policies that follow.
We're going to wrap this up. I just hope we get the information that we deserve, because we paid for it with lives, blood, and treasure.
Hi, everyone. I'm Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to click to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page. This is the only way that I know for sure that you're not going to miss any great commentary, any great news bites, any great interviews coming your way on Fox. You can get it all here on YouTube. So subscribe right now.